Let me into my zone. Let me into my zone. Please don't let me into my zone. 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 Please don't let me.
Well, well, well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave on this nice little beautiful, almost kind of bright Saturday morning over here from Helsinki, Finland. I'm back from the forest. I'm back from deep inside the forest and ready to do some more boring cryptocurrency analysis. But actually today is going to be a little bit more on the positive note because I do want to focus on the two things that could actually make me bullish the soonest. So there actually are two things that are kind of at the tip of my mind that actually are suggesting for the first time in a long time that perhaps we do have what precipitates a historical reversal. However, still a long ways to go. And for right now, I am still a strong believer in bear Jesus. And of course, at the end of the day, the trend is your friend, and the trend on the weekly is still very much down, unfortunately. But before we get into that, I still want to say a massive heartfelt thank you for all the support, all the rallying around during that last little YouTube saga with people kind of reporting. I know that there's been a lot of conspiracies going around, but I can just share my experience here. I was getting a lot of threats via Telegram channels and people just messaging me on Telegram saying, "Hey, we've reported your content. You know, we can't wait for you to get taken down. We just took down Ivan, and we just took down all these other people." I'm told I actually shouldn't get into specifics of this message just in case my lawyers actually can locate these people. They're basically, talking about how they were stealing all my copyrighted content and everything like that as well and redistributing it. It's like, okay, fair enough. Merry Christmas to you too, man. Try not to let it ruin your day too much. And again, it was, focusing on the positive right here. Not that you need to fucking discount reality for what it is, but it was really cool to see the community rallying around, and YouTube was actually very helpful in the endeavor. So I really have nothing bad to say about YouTube. I don't think there's any sort of conspiracy that YouTube's come up with a YouTube coin or some bullshit like that. In fact, they made it pretty damn clear. It's like they kind of confirmed the fact, hey, yeah, there's some sort of targeted campaign. People are using bots to mass flag these videos. We're looking into it right now. We are doing our best to rectify the situation. And from what I've seen thus far, they are making progress with that. And, I only have good things to say, really. On top of that, I should actually get into a few more announcements that I want to talk about. Jackie's psychological group is now open for signups, I suppose is the right word. I restored most of my videos, including the one where Jackie kind of explains it. So it'll be in the, I believe, it'll be in the psychological series playlist, actually, deep inside that one. So check it out over there. It will start the first week of January. He's only accepting 5 people into his group. So it's going to be very, 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 very small. And it's at a premium price as well because, well, I have to represent that, and it goes for 2 months long. Also, speaking of my own programs, Jesus Christ, man, my own programs are on sale for 20% off for the end of, or till the end of the year, essentially. A few more days left. And actually, I forgot to, if I had like a marketing manager or any sort of a manager, they would just be thinking that I'm the biggest fucking moron of all time because I haven't even made an announcement on Twitter, haven't made an announcement on Discord, and I've only been talking about it on these uploaded videos, which I fucking forget to post half the time on my own Discord. But I'll be posting that. I'll make a post about it either later today or perhaps tomorrow. Explaining it. It's only on the new website now. It's on crowntrading.net. The link will be in the description of this video, and no code is needed or anything like that. I always want to say with these programs, make sure that they're applicable to you. Take advantage of the free content first because most people do not need something like that. I'll tell you that fucking straight up. And this is not like some sort of backwards psychology or some shit like that. What reverse psychology is the word. I mean, it's like you can't win. It's like if you say something like that, which is true, which is fucking truth, most people should not invest in something like this because it's for really, really serious people and it's like really fucking long. And it costs a lot of money as well. It's like the opposite would be saying, you better fucking invest in this. If you don't do it, you're going to fucking die and all your dreams will never come true. And also your parents will hate you. Well, maybe the last part might be true. But as far as the other ones, no, man, I truly mean that for most people, this is just not reasonable because, well, most people just don't want to most people have a different sort of a life. Most people, probably have like a job and that's, their path to life in the way that they want to do it. These programs both are 35 hours plus long each. I'll briefly explain them, but first and foremost, just go check out the website. If you watch the videos on them right here, it'll be a little more in-depth explanation. But basically, they are, like I said, 35 hours each. Actually, the TA program is probably a little bit more. The TA program is, as it implies, technical analysis, but also risk management, also position management, also understanding underlying market dynamics, and much more actually, as well as access to the private Discord. And I fucking hate that term, private. The members Discord is perhaps a better term, and access to a couple proprietary indicators. So that's all encompassing for TA. That's probably, if you are even, relevant to these programs to begin with, that's probably the one that you're looking for. The options program right over here, this one's a lot more difficult. There is a massive learning curve for this. Again, it's very, very long as well. And probably less, even, certainly less people are going to be interested in this. And it's only going to be focused on the derivatives products options. Now, options are near and dear to my heart. That's where I was a professional market maker, authorized trader on the floor of New York Stock Exchange ARCA, trading options. But for most people, most people don't even have access to options in cryptocurrency land. But of course, all of these programs, all the strategies, it works in all markets. I've learned most of this stuff in traditional to begin with. Of course, learned a little bit more in forex and in cryptocurrency land as well. But for the most part, everything's pretty much synonymous. So with all of that said, I'm probably forgetting a few other things. But let's actually get into the charts right now. So I'll start off with the things that I alluded to at the beginning of this video. And first and foremost, what's potentially going on right here that is potentially a little bit of a change of behavior? Well, we actually had a decent daily total close yesterday, and we could say that perhaps we are even making our first higher low on a daily in a very long time. Now, of course, we do have this low right here. We have technically a higher low right here already. Is this our third higher low right here? Perhaps yes. So I would say that from a daily total time frame perspective, as long as we're remaining, especially above 71.80 on a daily total closing basis, and especially as long as we're above, less to agree, as long as we're above this high right here, or sorry, this higher low right here at about 7100. Could call it, that is in play. That is potential. Now, of course, we're looking at a very, very small portion of the charts right now. At the end of the day, this is very much a down. This is a fucking downturn right here. Nothing's changed right there. But I do think that it's worthwhile to talk about this last little bull wick that we see to the upside coming in from yesterday's closure. That is interesting. It is interesting nonetheless. So I do want to kind of put a little bit of a focus on that, and then also combine it with this next piece right here, which we need to go over to stamp for this one. And what we'll do is we'll put back on an indicator that we looked at a couple months ago, and that is the hash ribbons right here. And the hash ribbons are actually painting a little bit of an interesting signal. In fact, we do see that it is now curling around to be a buy signal. And going throughout the history of this, I do want to say that the buy signals with this have been more or less accurate with saying that the ultimate low before that price point is in, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we are in a momentous move to the upside from that. In fact, we do have plenty of examples where we actually go lower after that signal. So for example, right here, we got a buy signal, after the low of 3,100 was put in, but Bitcoin does slump down another like 10%. Back down to 3,300 from that signal where it puts in the next higher low. So the cycle low is in, but Bitcoin still goes lower in the short to medium term. So this is talking about the macro of Bitcoin. It actually has been pretty damn good. Probably, I shouldn't say probably. It's good. Probably good enough for me. To maybe not be so bearish. Looking at the last one right here, again, does go a little bit lower after we get the signal, but the cycle low had been put in, previous to that. So it was accurate in that regard. Right on over here. In 2014, we have a couple signals, again, coming after a little bit after the low right here. Obviously, Bitcoin does come back down to test this low multiple times, so it's not a good timing signal, but it is a good signal for getting the cycle low once again. So right here, we get another one right here. We get another one right here. And yes, blindly buying at these levels would have been fucking terrible. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this is like a buy now signal, but I am saying that it's potentially saying that we do create a range a little bit above 7,000, and then Bitcoin just grinds it out and perhaps could reverse, a couple months down the road. And doing it a little bit further in the history books right on over here. Again, same sort of thing. Gets a buy signal right here. This one does happen to get the momentum. That was literally the only one that actually gets the momentum, to be fair. So not good statistics on its side. A couple right here on the lows, essentially. Again, the second one does get the momentum okay, and this guy right here, which we do come back down afterwards, but the low was in beforehand. So we are actually doing the same thing currently, right? We are doing the same thing currently as Elsa is trying to break all the fucking plates. Anyways, let me just make sure that you can see the charts well. Okay, yes, you can. Okay, great. So yes, that is interesting to me. Alongside the fact that we actually potentially do have a higher low being printed on a daily right now. So I'm going to get rid of that right now. But again, I do think that was worth providing commentary on because, well, could it be that Bitcoin just flattens out in this region and then reverses back around? Sorry, there are three major things. I forgot the third one. There are three major things that could make me a bull on Bitcoin. But could Bitcoin flatten out here and then reverse around? Yes. Let's look at the third one, in fact, right now. And for this, we'll have to go on over to Forex. And Bitcoin always gets compared to gold as digital gold. And this looks pretty damn familiar, doesn't it, over here? This is kind of similar to what we see on a weekly on Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin having a massive rally and then having a falling channel and now testing the upside of that. I do believe gold has actually broken this officially. Yes, indeed it has. We are at our we did meet our secondary target at 1515, it looks like. Yes, actually to the T. 1515 spot 32. Very, very nice. Let me just make sure that I'm recording. My microphone's working as well. So I do like all that. And I would be looking for a pullback off here. I don't think that we're going to just blast through 1515 up to the next level, like 1530, 1535 region just yet. But I do think that longer term, this is looking a lot better. And not only do we have a nice, this one actually is a falling channel, essentially a bull flag. Not only do we have a nice structure in place, but looking at the volume signature, this confirming the fact as well as structure being broken. So I do like everything that's going on here. And more importantly, the reason why this is relevant to Bitcoin to begin with is because, well, Bali, where are you? Where are you, motherfucker? There you are. There you are, you beautiful bastard. You. If we apply the correlation coefficient, not on a daily, because a daily is not going to get your trends accurately. The weekly is going to get your trends accurately. We do see a positive correlation more often than not on a weekly schedule. These assets actually do move together as far as the greater trend goes. That's what we're trying to show here. And I would say that gold is actually a lot more bullish than Bitcoin right now. We see gold Stokes pointed back up. We see gold RSI rejecting or basically going back up into the bullish control zone and regaining the exponential. I like this is a very good signature right here. I really, really like that one. And I would be saying that probably longer term, we do work our way back to the prior high and probably beyond. This is looking good here. This is looking constructive over a long period of time. And, I don't really have any major problems with it. Longer term, like maybe into the year to come. Maybe like sometime later 2020, I do think that we work our way past 1600, and that would bode overall well for Bitcoin. And just looking at this formation right here, this is a long-term accumulation. Now, this is what actual Wyckoff accumulation does look like. This is an accumulation that happens, and this is the key point. And I think this is a really good one. And I'm no Wyckoff expert, but I can certainly see a lot of bullshit being spoken about it with people especially in the crypto community for whatever fucking reason. The crypto community is the best community. It's also the worst community, and it's a fucking cesspool. But there are some of the best people that I've really met through here, and I really do mean that. But looking at this is a 5-year-long accumulation. Sorry, it's actually 6 years long since we got into this area. Yeah, 2013. Accumulation you can't talk about Wyckoff fucking accumulation in like the span of a few days, let alone a goddamn couple months. Hey, try fucking years. And this is what we're seeing right here. And this is very, very good over a long period of time. So those would be the biggest things that could actually make me switch on to being a bull on Bitcoin, especially as long as Bitcoin just doesn't close a weekly below, let's call it 6,900, $7,000. As long as it doesn't do that, you could imagine that it does, just trade sideways for a little bit here, and then get one of those girthy green dildos from Bull Jesus himself to the, to the upside, a little bit down the road, maybe like end of January 2020, or maybe February, something like that. I'm not beholden to a time, but I would say that those would be the three things that actually do make me think that we could see something else going on here. Make no mistake about it, though. As far as just straight up TA goes, everything else is bearish. We are in a downtrend. We are below all major moving averages, especially on a daily. Or sorry, we're actually not below them right now, but we are seeing a bearish splayed out attempt of them, and more or less all momentum oscillators on the medium to high time frames are bearish. We do see daily Stokes having a fresh cross to the downside, rejecting the bullish control zone along the way. We see that Bitcoin is very correlated to Bitcoin as well. It's like so fucking dumb. We do see hidden bearish divergence potentially present on the daily RSI, and we do see historical volatility percentile is still contracting here. Actually, it's still contracting here on a daily. But the question is, did we already see the move that we were looking for yesterday? Did we see the move down? I was saying that we'd likely have a move down to about $7,000 even. We saw a move down to about 70.50. Is that close enough? I do think that that's close enough. It's good enough for me. I think that that's relevant to think that we did play out that move and getting a bounce from there. So more or less as we spoke about. Again, I'm not trying to be the fucking person who says, I called it. I knew it was going to happen. I told you it was going to fucking happen. And by my 50 $15 newsletter or whatever the fuck it is, man. I don't even know. I give this shit out for free. But to me, this is why I'm not trading this right now, because I don't feel like I have a really good read on the short to medium time frames. On the longer term time frames, yes. On the short to medium term time frames, Bitcoin's ebbing and flowing like a bitch, like a crazy person, and I don't care to trade this right now. So for full disclosure, for full transparency, I have 0 open positions. I've actually not made a single trade, not even a scalp in Bitcoin over the past 2 to 3 days, maybe now, probably like 3 days now. And I don't really have any plans to trade this weekend. For me, it's the 2-day that is still the most obvious chart. And we did get the move down to the 200 simple right here. Again, the 200 simple was more close to like 7,000, but when you look at it from a higher time frame perspective, it basically looks like we tested it. So what I'd say here is that what we were talking about yesterday still certainly very much applies as far as the medium to higher timeframes goes, or medium to longer term timeframes go. To me, this is essentially doing the same thing. We have no change in behavior as long as we are below the 2-day 21 exponential moving average, which is essentially governing our lower highs and accurately got our last lower high at 75. And the 200 simple to the 377 to the downside is kind of our downside support. Now this is a descending triangle as it stands, even though I did show all those potentially bullish things to begin this video. But I would say that, at the end of the day, descending triangle, ascending triangle doesn't mean that it's always going to break out in that direction. A lot of the time not a lot of the time, but I have seen them break out the other direction all the time. Which not all the time, but it certainly has happened. It's always a probability that we're looking at here. It's a statistical play that we're looking at here. They're more likely to break out to the downside, but not always. And looking at those 3 things that we spoke about earlier, it would make kind of sense to me that if we are going to see a little bit of an attempt here, probably does happen from this time. But at the end of the day, this is what I can very much stick towards. As long as we're closing 2-day dildos below the 21 exponential moving average, which is now actually below our last prior high at 7,500, governing our last lower high as well. I am not bullish. If we do get above there, if we do close a 2-day dildo above there, shit, even if we take out this high right here from the last 2-day at 74.32, I think that is strongly like that we will make a run up towards this top side of the range right around here, right around 7,800, give or take about $50, something like that. And that's where things become interesting because, well, realistically, there's actually not, while that is the top side of the range for the lower time frames, not even the lower time frames, like the medium time frames now because this thing's so fucking weak. I personally think that if we do break this trend line right here, or even above the 21 and close a 2-day dildo above there, we will have a short, pullback from this region at about 78, but likely work our way up higher into the median of the range, somewhere between 83 and 8,500. Again, make no mistake about it though, as long as, even if we get up there, which is this next blue box territory, we're still in a long-term downtrend. The weekly trend does not change officially until we make a higher high, and the last prior high was right over here at 9,500. So we could rally up more than $2,000 from this price point and still technically not be in an uptrend, which is scary, but also enlightening to the fact that we are dealing with very big numbers here. So at the end of the day, very, 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 very important to be aware of this fact. And even the 21 exponential moving average on the weekly is actually, well below that point. The 21 on the weekly is literally below 8,300. In fact, pretty much where the where that next blue box territory is. So it would be a good long-term target if we do break to the upside from here. However, long term, it doesn't change the trend just yet. We'd still need to get above this region, and then historically speaking, the weekly trend on Bitcoin has accurately gotten all of the major moves for Bitcoin. It's just I'm not going to be able to call the ultimate low right here or the ultimate high, ever in Bitcoin's in Bitcoin's history. I will not call a reversal before we get that. I will only call short to medium term moves in the counter trend direction to the macro, is what I'm trying to say. The next sort of thing that I like to focus on is the weekly. The weekly 89 exponential moving average right here at about 7250-ish region, which will close tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If we do close below it, I would say that pressure is on once again. Very, very likely that we do work our way down to 6,900 or 7,000 again, something like that. And I'd probably be looking for a short-term bounce there. If we do end above the 89, it doesn't really do all that much actually, but it would, that's what I would expect to see if Bitcoin actually is going to bottom in this region. It keeps open the conversation for that. If we end below, I think it's very likely that we will see some further downside precipitated from that move. But weekly oscillators here are bearish. Weekly RSI bearish. I mean, we actually even have hidden bearish divergence here, I believe. Well, we don't know yet because we don't know if this is a local high or not. So that again just makes it difficult. It's getting quite difficult here. Weekly Stokes looking a little bit tired on the downside. Okay, fair enough. Weekly Jewel, I do believe that this signal has likely played out already. I mean, this is a signal that took us from basically here at 11.5, 12,000 all the way down to here. Told you to reshort somewhere right around 86 to 8,800, and we've already moved $2,000 down from there. So I do think that it's likely already played out. So fair enough. Let's go down now to the lower time frames. We haven't really spoken about them, but the reason why I haven't really been speaking about the lower time frames is they're just not that helpful right here. Using moving averages, what you're seeing on the lower time frames is not moving average plays. This is what you expect to see when you see something like this. This is the time to not be using that tool because we're not fucking trending. When you see all the averages, which are literally just averages of price conglomerated in the exact same fucking area, you have no edge. You have no fucking edge. This is when you get all this choppy action. This is telling you if you are a trend trader, even on the lower time frames, it's not worth it. And technically speaking, we are still in a downtrend on the lower time frames as low as a 4 hour. This is your high, lower low, lower low, lower high, lower low, and perhaps we're putting another lower high right here. But I would not trade these lower time frames. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just my trading style. I'm not interested in trading shit that goes sideways like this. Not even as a scalp, because we are really tightening up on volatility. Even on like a 4 hour right here, it is contracting still. So we are going to see a pretty momentous move from this region, but it likely takes a little bit longer to present itself. Let's go down to an hourly. Yeah, even the hourly is going to be contracting as well. We're well below the moving average on this. 2 hour, the buy hourly, same thing. You can even draw a regression here saying that we are longer term coming down from this region, and look at where this regression starts from. It starts from all the way over here. So this is all one piece of the puzzle, which is not just verified by the the historical volatility percentile, but also just by your traditional volume down here as well. So technically speaking, as we do see this ascending trend line right here on the volume, a little bit not the prettiest drawing that I have. Not that they need to be, but what I want to show now is that actually, I guess there's 4 things that could make me a bull here. We actually do have a descending broadening wedge, which typically do break out to the upside, but we can follow these for quite some time. And the bottom side of support of that would basically be at our last prior lows, like 6,600. So we're in a big range here. I'm not really looking for a break outside of the range. Again, the range being best represented by the 2-day, the 2-day 21, and let's call it the 377 of the downside, because it actually has gotten the last 2 lows perfectly, whereas the 200 simple not as well. Both of those working pretty damn well. Now, if we do break to the downside, so we spoke about the upside, right? We spoke about the upside. Short term, if we moved above the 21, I'd be looking for a move to 78, 79, very likely. But personally speaking, I do think that we'll get extension to like 83, 85 after that, very likely. What I think is also worth talking about is, well, we are in a ascending triangle, so let's talk about the downside. And the downside would actually, I've already done the measure move right here. If you want the verification for that, just go to yesterday's video. It's still there. And this would actually be pointed down towards the target of 6,100, 6,200-ish region, which is in line with the bottom side support of this falling channel right here, which has been holding up most of our lows for the last 6 months since June, July area. Pretty damn well, so it'd be in line with that. Also in line from our 2018 support coming in from the lower 6,000 region. You probably remember that one if you've been here for the last couple of years. And on top of that, if we throw on the volume profile, this is kind of like the last of the higher value nodes within this region around that 61 to 6,200-ish number right here. In fact, if I just look at it like this is this GDAX? Yeah, this GDAX. We actually even see the point of control coming in right around that region as well. So 61 to 6,200 would be the target if we do break down. There will be bounces along the way. It's not going to be a straight shot down there very likely, but I would be looking probably for a bounce around the prior low, like 66. First and foremost, like 69, then 66, then yeah, probably 60, 61, 62, something like that. Again, these moves happen over time, typically speaking. So yeah, that's basically the 2 things that I'm looking at for right here. I don't really have. I mean, technically, I should be biased to the downside because again, we are in a downtrend. But I'm not representing that with my position. I'm not representing that. I'm not even trading this asset right now. I have zero skin in the game, and I want to be very transparent about that because I think it's important. Going over here to CMEs, what do we see here on CMEs? So CMEs did not. CMEs did something. Didn't really do anything of interest here. We still failed to close above the 21 exponential average right here. We still have the death cross on it, and we are still making lower highs and lower lows by that measure. But well, daily stocks are actually quite bearish here because we're moving up this whole way through, and Bitcoin's been flat to down. Daily RSI is hidden bearish divergence as well. I'd actually be more bearish looking at CMEs here. It tells me that we probably come back down at 69. So CMEs are more on the bear side, and I do think that that CMEs get the price action better. Not only that, but CME's weekly closure, not the prettiest of all time. Not the prettiest of all time, would kind of incite, if I was just looking at CME weekly, again, we obviously do not just trade CME weekly, but if I was just looking at CMEs weekly, I'd be bearish. Just looking at the RSI, looking at Stokes, and looking at the structure here, I'd probably be looking for an open early next week back up somewhere around like 74.50, but I'd be looking for a sell-off off there if I was just looking at CMEs. But again, it's not just CMEs, and we do have other things going on in this market that are interesting as of the current moment in time. Let's briefly look at this as well. The Bitcoin VWAP ratio, still overall bearish, I'd say. We haven't really seen anything change there. I'm curious how GBTC closed the week out as well. GBTC closed on lows. GBTC actually looking bearish here as well. GBTC looks like it does want to pop back down to like 820. So GBTC and CMEs are more bearish. CME weekly, very bad close. Well, I did talk about the bullish things in this video. It's mainly so that I can post like a title that says the four reasons why you should be bullish on Bitcoin. It's like, it's all bullshit. It's just fucking YouTube algo hitting. So, it's bullshit. But hey, they are present and they are worthwhile to be aware of. It's just, I don't, if I'm looking at these guys, which I do put more weight on, I think that we're overall bearish here. Let's go take a look at Bitcoin dominance. Get a quick overview of Bitcoin, if the altcoins versus Bitcoins are bearish or bullish. Although I really want to get away from doing altcoins. In fact, we're no longer going to really be looking at altcoins. Instead, we're going to be looking at forex pairs and traditional pairs. And if the Bitcoin dominance chart can come up, that'd be great. And I'd be very, very bullish on this. I do think that short term, medium term, we do come down a little bit, of which we've probably actually gotten most of that move down. And I do think that longer term, we're going to work our way back up above 72% and then past our prior highs. I mean, this is very good here. Weekly Stokes, powerful, erect. Weekly RSI, powerful, erect. You want to go back to the bullish control zone. Weekly Jewel, bouncing, erect. Not erect. It's not so erect. So we already looked at gold. Gold's looking good. Let's go look at a few, or let's go look at how traditional markets closed out the week. This damn mean bankers. They bullied me in high school. And again, we have another basically closing on all-time highs. Weekly RSI, very bullish. Weekly Stokes, what you'd expect to see during a strong uptrending move. In fact, we probably do come down a little bit to meet this trend line here, but I'd be expecting another bounce there. So pullback probably does happen in the next, like sometime like early 2020, I'd imagine, like probably even January, I'd say. But I'd be looking for that to get bought up. Again, there's nothing bearish about this chart. We've been bullish on this one for a while, and I continue to be bullish on it. The monthly is a few days away from closing it, and the monthly is even more bullish than the weekly. The monthly RSI looking very good here, even breaking this ascending broadening wedge to the upside. In fact, and this is a descending broadening wedge that has been going on since 2017, essentially. So a couple years in the making, and likely to produce a pretty interesting outcome. I would say that I have no reason to be bearish on this on traditional markets as long as we're especially above like 317.5 now, which has just been getting walked up each and every week. It's very, very powerful. Let's go check out pound yen. I know a lot of people like to look at this one. I do think that we have a little bit, probably another short term try to the upside, but longer term, I do believe that this is going to be another lower high. The reason why I do say that very, very low time frame, we do probably try another move back up to like maybe 144 region. Is to me, it looks like we're going to go through a period of redistribution here after this first initial sell-off. But longer term, looking at a weekly, we do have this confirmed local high in place. It's also a lower high. It's also rejection from both major moving averages, the 200 simple and 200 exponential moving average right here. We see weekly Stokes cross down. We see weekly RSI presenting major hidden bearish divergence going back all the way to, February, going all the way back on over here. But of course, more relevant to the more proximal price action. And I'd say longer term, I do think that it comes down to like 138 or perhaps even lower than that. Let's go look at euro dollar as well. Then we'll wrap this bitch up. And euro dollar, very good close on the weekly. Very, very good close on the weekly. Did we close above the last prior high? 111. Yes, we did. So I would say that I would be looking for the euro to actually rally up here. I'd be looking for it to probably rally up longer term to like 113 and a half, 113, 113 and a half up here. It looks good. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for that. Let's go back to Bitcoin really quick and wrap this bitch up. Again, I'd say while we had a lot of fun on the lower time frames and everything, at the end of the day, it's a 2-day that's governing everything for me, and I will not make another trade on Bitcoin until we actually move outside of the 2-day range, whether it's above the 21 exponential average. I'd immediately target to move another 300, 400 bucks higher, and then probably extend to 83, 8,500. So that's potentially 5,000, or sorry, not 5,000. Potentially that's a $1,000 move. And to the downside, anywhere below, the $7,000 region is like a warning signal, but it doesn't necessarily get us there. A 2-day total close anywhere below like our past prior low of 6,900, it looks like. And then yes, I'd be looking for a move to the low 6,000s and probably beyond after that. I still do think that is quite likely that Bitcoin does, have some more downside, especially looking at CMEs and GBTC. But that's how I see the charts right now, and I think that's a good place to cut this baby off. I'll be back on a little bit later today with some more Twitch live stream analysis. Although really want to focus on playing games. It's starting to get a little bit away from me there. But really enjoying that. So I want to invite everyone there. The link will be in the description of this video as always. I'm hungry as fuck, man. I'm going to go eat a shit ton of food. I'm really excited about that. And I want to wish you well as well on this nice little Saturday morning. So take care. Happy holidays as, of course, whatever holiday you're celebrating, or if it's just a regular Saturday. Happy Saturday, my friends. Take care. See you soon.